Hi guys, welcome to Hoops Junction. Today we're talking about the NBA trade deadline and we're just breaking down who won them and why. Now a lot of these trades absolutely make no sense other than the Serge Ibaka trade and the DeMarcus Cousins trade. We're going to break down a few other ones. The Milwaukee Bucks trading Roy Hibbert for a protected second round pick. It's over. Nobody wants him. He's too slow. He doesn't play consistently. Years ago, he really messed himself up bad in the Eastern Conference Finals when he had like a couple of good games and he just started going overboard. It ended about 4 years ago. So Roy Hibbert is out. He has foot problems. He just has a multitude of problems, and any team that gets him is just trying to move him. So in that case, both teams are losers. What we're going to talk about is between the Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets. Quietly, the Washington Wizards have gotten better because they add shooting to their team. Part of their problem is they rely heavily on Bradley Beal to make shots and their other small forward. But other than those two guys, they don't have any shooters coming off the bench. Trey Burke, you would think he'd be like a knockdown shooter, consistent shooter, but he doesn't get enough minutes. Bogdan Bogdanovic is actually a good pickup for the Wizards. He helps them space the floor. He adds another element of shooting to the team. As far as the Brooklyn Nets, I don't know what direction they're taking. You know, Marcus Thornton has played for their team already. So, at the end of the day, you know, Brooklyn loses this trade. The Wizards, they got subtly better. You won't see it right away, but as the team progresses and they get closer to the playoffs, you'll start to see them gel a little bit better. And you can't really, now you have Bradley Beal and Bogdan Bogdanovic coming off the bench, so he can space the floor. He has experience as a starter. He has experience coming off the bench, so he could be a swing man. He's a really good pickup for the Wizards. The next trade we're going to talk about is between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Chicago Bulls. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder sent Cameron Payne, Anthony Morrow, and Joffrey Laverne to the Bulls, while the Bulls sent Doug McDermott and Taj Gibson to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder won this trade in many different ways, but also they kind of made a faux pas. They traded for Taj Gibson, and they also traded for Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott makes a great deal of sense due to the fact that Thunder just absolutely have no element of shooting. Their perimeter is awful. Every team they play against just sucks in the paint on them. So now you add Doug McDermott. He could serve as a knockdown shooter that they've never really had. They've never really had a knockdown shooter. The whole Taj Gibson thing doesn't make any sense to me because I understand that the power forward position and the center position, Adams is a lock. And it's Cantor. He's coming back from injury, but he's coming back. So now you have like you have too many bigs. So I don't know what they'll do with him in the future. I like Taj Gibson as a great player. To me, like, he would be best served to be on a team like the Suns because he can make plays. He can be a starter. I think if he starts now and then later on he's coming off the bench, it's going to ruin things because he was a starter in Chicago. Regressing instead of progressing, I think that could kind of mess with his game. Especially when you're thrown into the fire. You know, you're playing with the Russell Westbrook high-tempered guy, so you gotta watch how the dynamic works there. But definitely, the Oklahoma City Thunder won this trade. The Bulls, essentially, it looks like they're building for the future. They're in the playoffs, so I don't know why they'll be willing to trade McDermott and Taj Gibson. Maybe they just feel like they can't beat Cleveland, but you haven't even faced them yet. Even though we know most likely if they did play them, they'll probably lose, but you haven't faced them yet. Anything can happen in the series. So I felt like this move, the only good thing I can say about it is Cameron Payne. He's promising. He can space the floor. He can shoot. Another thing is Anthony Morrow can shoot the basketball. But other than that, they're just basically building for the future. They're getting young guys that can come into a Fred Hoiberg system, not with a lot of judgment, not with a lot of pushback, and they could just get plugged in right away into the system. The next trade we're talking about between the Raptors and the Suns. The Raptors just keep getting better. First they got Serge Ibaka. Now they made a trade for Jared Sullinger for PJ Tucker. Now if you haven't watched PJ Tucker play, then you're in for a treat. PJ Tucker is a high intensity guy, great defensive guy. He plays with heart, passion. And that's the Toronto Raptors version of a LeBron stopper. So like, the Portland Trailblazers had a Kobe stopper. The Toronto Raptors have a LeBron stopper. PJ Tucker has a great deal of experience guarding every other team's best player. He guards a lot of teams' best players. So bringing him in for the Raptors is another big body, especially like a good handsy guy, just tenacious guy like a Patrick Beverley. So if they were to go up against Cleveland, you have a big front line with Serge Ibaka, Jonas, and Valanciunas. Your small forward position is solidified with DeMar Carroll, but then you got a guy coming behind him with extra defense in PJ Tucker. So, you can put him on a Kyrie Irving. You can put him on a LeBron James. He is like a jack of all trades. He can kind of handle a little bit of everybody. So, they got him strictly for defensive purposes because, honestly, they are weak defensively sometimes. Sometimes, they're getting up into guys, then the next minute it's just like it's lax. With him on the team, it's going to be consistent tenacity on the defensive end. I like that trade for Toronto Raptors. As far as Jared Sullinger goes, he's out of shape, and he will go good on the Suns because they don't have a lot of bigs on their team. So he goes good there, but I don't think he's going to make any noise. And, essentially the Suns lost this trade. Next trade we're talking about is Suns-Hawks. The Suns get Mike Scott, and the Atlanta Hawks get a protected second-round pick and some cash considerations. With the Hawks, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the Suns are doing. I like Mike Scott as a player. I feel like in Atlanta, he didn't get like enough burn, but I think what happened is during the playoffs, he didn't prove his worth, and they kind of shelved him. But he's a good player. He's a solid player. I like his game. I just wish he would be more consistent with it. Next trade we're talking about is the 76ers and the Dallas Mavericks. 76ers acquire Drew Bogut for Nerlens Noel. And 76ers get a top first-round pick or whatever. Nerlens Noel is going to the Dallas Mavericks, who needed this trade probably earlier in the season because they don't have any athleticism at the 5 spot. They're very slow. They're a bunch of group of old men. They just recently cut Darren Williams because he wasn't holding up his end of the bargain. And as far as the 76ers, they needed somebody with experience. They're a young team. But Bogut has been injured on and off. So this trade is good for the future for Dallas if they decide to keep Nerlens Noel. But the problem is Nerlens Noel is not very skilled. And in terms of the 76ers, they have a big stockpile of big men. They have the process. They have Okafor. I mean, they just have way too many big men on that team. I don't know if they're going to waive him. It sounds like they're going to waive him, but having that many big men on the team absolutely makes no sense. I understand where you're trying to go. You're trying to get more skilled bigs and more experience to put together with your team, but I don't like this trade at all. Like, doesn't even matter. Dallas isn't a contender. Philly isn't a contender, so this trade doesn't matter. Next trade we're talking about is the Atlanta Hawks and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Atlanta Hawks get Ersan Ilyasova, and the 76ers get Tiago Splitter and a draft pick. 76ers are just stockpiling draft picks. They're getting draft picks left and right. They're like the Boston Celtics, got a lot of picks. So hopefully this next draft class works out good for them. But I feel like the Hawks are kind of... Ilyasova is a good shooter. He can space the floor. But I feel like the Sixers got the better end of this deal because Tiago Splitter could actually play. And he's not like Andrew Bogut, always getting injured. But the great thing about that is you can slide Tiago Splitter at power forward or the center. It doesn't even matter what position he plays. He can play both. He's played both with Tim Duncan on the San Antonio Spurs. I feel like he's a pretty good pickup for any team. He's a solid player when he's healthy. As far as Ersan Ilyasova, like I said before, he can shoot the ball. But I don't know that dynamic in Atlanta, how that's going to work out. So that's another move that's like kind of head-scratching. So we'll see. We'll see. But I do know one thing. 76ers have a lot of draft picks. They have a lot of big men to move. I feel like everybody's so caught up with this whole trade deadline. I mean, not with trade deadline. This next draft class. You guys better be right about this draft class. Because if you're wrong, you're screwed. All them picks don't mean nothing. The last trade I'm going to break down is between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets. Now, the Rockets get Lou Williams, and in return, the Rockets sent Corey Brewer and a 2018 first-round draft pick. So that trade, I didn't like it for the Lakers at first, but I guess what they're trying to do is establish a culture of a defense. And I guess Corey Brewer brings that for the rest of the season, because they're gonna rebuild everything. They're gonna revamp everything. Jim Buss is gone, Mitch Kupchak is gone, Magic is in the building, so he has a vision for his team, and I think whatever he's doing is gonna work out for the benefit of the Lakers. For the Rockets, I love this trade. This trade for the Rockets, they just added like one of the best shooters in the game. One of the guys that could score and heat up, and coming off the bench, or he could possibly start or come off the bench, whichever one you want. And that solidifies their bench. So James Harden doesn't have to carry so much load. He's a three-point shooter, spaces the floor. He fits great into that system. I mean, they beat the Pelicans by 30, and he had like 27 off the bench. So he's gonna be dynamite. Like that's gonna give the Warriors problems, because they gotta face another shooter. And to me, he's somewhat of a playmaker. I've seen him make plays on the Lakers, so I think that's a good trade for the Rockets. I think that helps them in their quest to get back to the Western Conference Finals. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Like, comment, and subscribe.